This is Zachary Wester, a former sheriff's deputy accused of planting drugs on unsuspecting motorists during routine traffic stops.
I'm testifying to this jury today that the drugs were there. I did not put the narcotics there.
Please stay on the ground! I think to tase you! Get on the ground! One, now! I tase
All right, okay, all right.
Break your shit!
Okay, dude!
As I'm yelling, screaming, I'm like, drop the gun, drop the gun, drop the gun! As he's running, he gets about like right, just a little past where the guardrail starts, and he does this number, and I see his whole body spin, and I saw like a flash, a silver flash, like a metallic flash, come at me.
Law enforcement has long been considered a noble profession, dedicated to upholding the law and protecting the community. However, as with any institution, there are people who choose to exploit their positions for personal gain. These dirty cops operate within the shadows, using their authority to line their pockets and carry out criminal activities.
Official misconduct, fabricating evidence, false imprisonment, possession of controlled substances, and drug paraphernalia, and perjury. Wester joined the Jackson County Sheriff's Office in 2016, but it wasn't until 2018 that people started to question his actions.
Zachary Wester's father was a police officer, and everyone had high hopes for him when he was hired as a deputy at the Liberty County Sheriff's Office in 2015. However, within less than a year, Zachary left Liberty County due to claims of sexual misconduct. Despite these allegations, the following year, 2016, the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, northwest of Tallahassee, hired him. As an officer for Jackson County, Zachary Wester quickly established a reputation for being an assertive deputy. His aggressive approach led him to making a significant number of drug arrests, earning him recognition within the department and among his peers. However, as summer 2018 approached, the district attorney's investigators began to notice inconsistencies in Zachary's police reports and body camera footage. Zachary's misconduct came to light when body cam videos showed him holding a plastic baggie in his hand before he searched the vehicle of a woman he later arrested for possession. This suspicious behavior raised doubts and triggered an investigation into his activities. When investigators searched Zachary's patrol vehicle, they reportedly discovered ready-to-plant substances and substance paraphernalia in the trunk. That evidence, prosecutors said, proved that Zachary had substances on him, which he then used to plant on victims during traffic stops. The discovery in his car led to Zachary's suspension from his duties in 2019. That same year, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement concluded its investigation, leading to his arrest. After his arrest, prosecutors were forced to drop charges in over 100 cases involving Zachary during the 2 years the Jackson County Sheriff's Department employed him. One of the key witnesses at Zachary's trial was a victim of his misconduct. Teresa Odom testified that in 2018, Zachary stopped her for a broken brake light and requested to search her trunk. Despite her initial resistance, Teresa eventually agreed, allowing Zachary to proceed with the search. To her surprise, he alleged that he had found a bag of in her purse. Teresa vehemently denied possessing any substances, but in order to avoid a lengthy legal battle, she pleaded no contest and received 4 years probation. However, her conviction was later thrown out after her involvement in Zachary's case came to light. The defense attempted to portray Zachary as a law-abiding citizen who regularly attended church and made significant contributions to his community. His wife, Rebecca, pleaded for leniency, stating that her husband was a good man who had made mistakes. However, the evidence presented at his trial suggests that Zachary's actions were not isolated incidents, but part of a pattern of corruption. Zachary Wester was sentenced to 12 years in prison. The harm caused by Zachary's actions was immeasurable, both for individuals and for the community as a whole. Fortunately, the victims of Zachary's crimes were eventually granted a $1 million settlement to share. This settlement aims to compensate them for their losses and hardships caused by Zachary's actions. It's a small step towards restoring justice and repairing the damage caused by his corrupt conduct. While still a dirty cop, Zachary Wester did not engage in any criminal activities that resulted in someone dying. The same can't be said about Desmond Mills and his sinister actions.
Desmond Mills pled guilty to excessive force and conspiracy to witness tampering today. He's now facing 15 years in prison. He's expected also to plead guilty to several other charges.
Desmond Mills, a former jailer, was hired by the Memphis Police Department in March 2017 and became part of a predictive policing unit called Scorpion. The unit's name, Scorpion, stood for Street Crimes Operation to restore peace in our neighborhoods. Predictive policing is a strategy that aims to utilize data analysis and statistical algorithms to identify areas of crime and develop strategies to prevent them. The officers in the Scorpion unit, including Desmond Mills, were not your typical law enforcement officers. They dressed in plain clothes and wore bulletproof vests marked police. However, their appearance was not the only thing that set them apart from other officers. These officers were also equipped with unmarked vehicles, allowing them to operate covertly and evade detection by the general public. On January 7, 2023, Desmond Mills and 4 other officers within the Scorpion unit performed a traffic stop on Tyrie Nichols. Tyrie was a 29-year-old African-American man who worked for FedEx and was an amateur photographer in his free time. Due to his battle with Crohn's disease, Tyrie was on the thinner side, weighing only 145 pounds. When the traffic stop occurred at 8:24 p.m., Tyrie was only 2 minutes away from his home. Little did he know that this event would mark the beginning of a tragic chain of events that would end his life. According to reports, Desmond and the other officers involved pulled Tyrie out of his car to the ground, where they tased him and threatened him. Several moments later, another officer deployed pepper spray into Tyrie's face, causing extreme pain and disorientation. Despite the 5 officers attempting to hold him down, Tyrie managed to break free from their grasp and began running. The officers promptly gave chase. The officers eventually caught up with Tyrie, and a brutal assault ensued. Desmond Mills, wielding his baton, mercilessly beat Tyrie while another officer punched him several times in the face. Another officer joined in, kicking him in the torso, causing severe injuries. Throughout the assault, Tyrie could be heard desperately shouting for his mother. However, his pleas went unanswered, and he was left to endure the relentless beating. Paramedics were called to the scene by the police officers, and Tyrie was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. Tragically, 3 days later, Tyrie succumbed to his injuries, leaving behind a grieving family and a community in turmoil. The attorney representing Tyrie's family has alleged that he was tortured to death by the police officers. This horrifying allegation prompted the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation to open an investigation into the allegations of excessive force used during Tyrie's arrest. 2 weeks later, on January 24, 2023, the Department of Justice and the FBI announced that they would also be opening a civil rights investigation. This development intensified scrutiny in the officers involved in Tyrie's death. Several days later, the 5 officers involved in the incident were placed on administrative action, and eventually, the department fired them, effectively ending their professional careers. The culmination of the investigations resulted in the arrest of Officer Desmond Mills and the 4 other officers involved in Tyrie's death. They were charged with second-degree murder and other charges related to the incident, including aggravated assault, kidnapping, official misconduct, and oppression. Several days later, all 5 officers involved in the incident that led to Tyrie's death made bail and were released. In the aftermath of the incident, the Scorpion unit was disbanded. In November 2023, Desmond Mills pleaded guilty to the state charges as part of an agreement with federal prosecutors. Desmond agreed to testify against the other 4 officers at their trials as part of the plea agreement. The prosecution recommended a 15-year sentence for Desmond. However, Desmond's sentencing hearing, originally scheduled to be held in May 2024, was postponed until November. He will be free until then. Desmond Mills isn't the only dirty cop who has killed an innocent person. Nouman Raja committed a heinous crime that shook the law enforcement community.
Nouman Raja, defendant, verdict. We, the jury, find as follows. As to count 1, we find a defendant guilty of manslaughter while armed with a firearm as charged in the information.
Nouman Raja, a Muslim man with Pakistani heritage, became a naturalized American citizen in 2001. Married with 2 children, Nouman had a deep desire to follow in the footsteps of his grandfather, who had served as a police chief in Pakistan. After years of working in a small police department in Florida, Nouman left his post in 2013 and joined the Palm Beach Gardens Police Department. On October 18, 2015, Corey Jones, an employee of the Delray Beach Housing Authority, found himself in a difficult situation. After completing a gig with his band, Corey's vehicle broke down on Interstate 94. Frustrated and in need of assistance, Corey called his bandmate, who arrived promptly with the necessary oil to refill the car. Despite their efforts, Corey and his bandmate were unable to start the vehicle. Corey called for a tow truck, and his bandmate left, sure that Corey would get home safely. Little did they know that Corey's life was about to take a tragic turn. As the night unfolded, Nouman, working as a plainclothes police officer in an unmarked white van with tinted windows, came across Corey's vehicle. Nouman, who was conducting burglary surveillance, claimed that Corey, who was armed, confronted him. According to Nouman's account, the situation left him with no choice but to discharge his weapon. With 6 shots being fired, Corey was hit with 3 bullets. One of the bullets struck a major blood vessel near his heart, ultimately leading to his death. The other 2 bullets hit Corey in his left elbow and right shoulder, breaking his arm from the impact. At the time, Nouman was not wearing a body camera, nor did he have his vehicle equipped with a dash cam. Internal Affairs with the Palm Beach Gardens Police Department launched an investigation into Corey's death, resulting in Nouman being placed on administrative leave and later terminated from his job. On June 1, 2016, a grand jury charged Nouman with manslaughter and attempted first-degree murder with a firearm. The state attorney's office of Palm Beach County alleged that Nouman had acted wrongfully when he opened fire at Corey, as Nouman never identified himself as a police officer. The state attorney's office argued that Nouman's actions were unjustified and led to Corey's death. Nouman was released on bond following his arrest and placed on house arrest. One of his conditions of release required him to hand over his passport and wear an ankle monitor to track his movements. In March 2019, a jury found Nouman guilty of manslaughter and attempted first-degree murder following a trial that lasted for a week. The jury found Nouman guilty of recklessly causing Corey's death and trying to kill him with a firearm. Nouman was sentenced to 25 years in prison the following month. Following the trial, Corey's family filed a wrongful death suit against the city of Palm Beach Gardens. The suit aimed to hold the city accountable for allowing Nouman to serve in a position of authority as a corrupt cop. Corey's family believed that the city's negligence had contributed to Corey's death, and they hoped to obtain justice through the legal system. After witnessing the corruption of these 3 dirty cops, you won't want to miss the next group of officers who believe they are above the law.